Guess what? If you let Boots and Fondora fight each other, you ain't got to beat both of them. Now you just got to beat one of them. If you go beat Boots now, you still got to fight Fondora after. So you double working yourself, but you're going to get less money out of it in the long run.
As speculation grows over Vergil Ortiz Jr.'s next move, Roy Jones Jr. steps in with a bold recommendation. His ideal path doesn't involve rushing into every big name, and it might be the smartest move of Ortiz's career.
So what do you think about Boots? You think Boots should go and try to make the Fondora fight?
He has to. Where else he going to go? He been in this game 10 years, Andre. He got to make every move he can make right now. He ain't got to, he can't wait forever. You know, we saw what happened with Boo Boo. Boo Boo kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and look what happened with Boo Boo. He waited too long. You understand me? So you can't keep waiting like that. He got to go. That's why sometimes he having these lapses, because he's not, like you say, he's not used to having to stay focused the whole night, because he's not fighting that he ain't got the right opportunities. So now you got it. You need to go take these opportunities now while they're available. Guess what? Fondora has been KO'd, and you have KO power. So that's not a fight you can't win. You understand me? Yeah. And that makes the Virgil fight even bigger too, because now if him and Earl fights, the one of that fight, you go to Dallas and fight that person, there's another huge payday.
It's more money.
You understand where I'm coming from? So you got to look at it from that side too, but that's not ducking.
Tim Bradley takes a different stance, arguing that the fight fans want most is the one that needs to happen. He feels that if Vergil Ortiz Jr. truly wants the biggest challenges, he should make his intentions clear and push his team towards securing the matchup.
That makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. And that's what the fans want, man. The fans deserve it.
Adding to that conversation, Oscar De La Hoya wants to see Vergil Ortiz Jr. face Jaron Boots Ennis next. With Sebastian Fundora already set for another fight, he believes Ennis is the right opponent and considers it the matchup boxing fans deserve to see.
I see Vergil Ortiz fighting, end of the year. I definitely want to see him against Boots. That's the bottom line. There's no ifs or buts. The fight to make is Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz, especially what happened this past weekend with Tim Tszyu, with Errol Spence, with this Josh Talley I haven't heard of.
Expanding on the excitement around the division, Jesse Bam Rodriguez considers a Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz Jr. clash one of the biggest fights that could be made. While he stays away from predicting the outcome because of his relationships with both fighters, he praises Ortiz and believes the matchup has everything needed to become a major boxing event.
I mean, that's a very good fight for the fight fans. You know, I have a good relationship with both fighters, so I don't really want to speak on it, but Vergil being my teammate, you know how that works. But like I said, the fans are the real winners at the end of the night. So hopefully it does happen, because boxing does need that fight. Boxing is, they want that fight very bad, and I think both fighters do as well. So I feel like it's just a matter of time before it happens.
Taking a closer look at the matchup, Sergio Mora views Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz Jr. as a razor-close matchup, but gives Boots a slight edge. He credits Boots' defense, reach, and shot selection, while noting that Ortiz's aggressive style can leave openings. Mora expects an action-packed fight with a strong chance of ending by stoppage.
Ortiz gets hit too. He gets rocked. He gets controversially knocked down as well. He would deny it, but the truth is there. We could see, we have eyes. Boots is the same way. This is the type of fight with Boots and Ortiz, when it happens, one of the biggest fights in boxing, against two power punchers that are susceptibly defensively, because they're so front foot. They go for the knockout. When you have knockout punchers, you're bound to get touched. The difference is Boots rolls with the shots. He takes a little bit of the steam off the shots. He knows how to use his long frame and still dig to the body. Vergil, on the other hand, he'll get up after getting dropped, shake his head, and put it in another gear, in a meaner gear. That can work against a mean fighter like Vergil and run into shots, especially if you're buzzed. So when it does happen, hold on. It's going to be explosive. Someone's going to get knocked out. And I always pick a side, right, Mannix? I always say, oh, well, this guy's going to be the favorite. That's a legitimate 50-50 fight.
All right. Similarly, Gary Russell Jr. gives Boots Ennis the edge over Vergil Ortiz Jr. He points to Boots' athleticism, instincts, and physical gifts as key advantages, while acknowledging Ortiz's pressure and punching power. Russell adds that Ortiz's straightforward style suits Boots, though he warns that Ortiz's left hook remains a dangerous weapon.
Boots, to be honest. Now, you got this other guy, Ortiz, saying that he'd knock Boots out. One thing about Boots is that he's versatile. He is very versatile. Now, yeah, you probably have kinks in his armor still, Because before the fight even happened, I posted a video. I said, man, look, I'm going with Boots. Xander, he's a tough contender. He's strong. He's eager. He's not going to deviate from the game plan. But Boots, he just freakishly good when it comes to his God-given talent, athleticism, and stuff like that. That's what's going to win him over the fight. But he got to not get hit with a hook. That's what he got hurt with. I saw it based off of the styles. Now, when you talk about styles and the kinks that's in each of us armor, Boots, I feel like being matched up against Ortiz, that hook is not going to catch him.
Backing that assessment, Andy Rozier also sides with Boots Ennis in the matchup. He points to Boots' quickness, technical skills, and athleticism as factors that could separate him from Ortiz. However, Rozier acknowledges that Ortiz's constant pressure and power make him a dangerous opponent who could push Boots into a highly competitive fight.
Listen, I love the fight. I have to definitely side with nephew. Boots is, I think his talent is very, very, very good, and I think it's going to be difficult, but Virgil is a monster, so it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it.
Adding another perspective, Max Kellerman views Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz Jr. as a difficult fight to predict. While he gives Boots a slight edge because of his physical tools, defensive ability, and overall athleticism, he also acknowledges that Ortiz has faced tougher challenges. Kellerman believes a dominant victory over Ortiz would further establish Boots as one of boxing's elite fighters.
The taller, longer fighter with the better defense should be favored, and that's Boots, right? Because generally, that guy wins those fights. But it's a different thing than actually going out and beating Vergil Ortiz and doing it in style. If he
Especially
fights
in that type of manner.
Who should be the favorite in that fight, Shady?
I'm going with Boots.
Favored.
Yeah.
He should be the betting favorite.
Yes.
I think this is a genuine coin flip fight. I really do. And I think we have to remember that Vergil Ortiz has fought the much, much better competition.
That's true.
He beat Israel Madrimov, very quality win. Madrimov gave Crawford all he could handle.
This fight happens and Boots wins a close, tough fight. Then he is at least what we think he is.
Looking ahead at his possible options, Boots Ennis sees both Sebastian Fundora and Vergil Ortiz Jr. as major challenges. He views each matchup as significant, but gives Fondora a slight edge because of his world title status and rare physical advantages.
All those fights are big fights.
You don't think there's one that's bigger than the rest?
No, I think between Fondora and Ortiz.
Yeah,
I feel like Fondora a big fight because he got a belt and he's 6'5" or 6'6" or something like that. That's something that everybody gonna want to go see that.
On the other hand, Boots Ennis says a showdown with Sebastian Fundora is already taking shape. He points to Fondora's public comments as further indication that the matchup is moving in the right direction.
Obviously, everyone wants to know what's next for Boots, right?
Well, if you listen to Boots, what's next? Boots already sound on Fondora. I think Fondora is one of the best fighters in that division, and Boots sound Fondora. So Fondora said he's going to fight Boots. So it'll probably be in December. Probably be. I'm just throwing it off because Fondora going to fight now.
Expanding on that potential clash, Boots Ennis welcomes the challenge of facing Fondora, acknowledging his size, reach, and unique style as qualities that would create a different test for Boots. He views the matchup as another opportunity for Boots to display his complete skill set and prove how much more he can accomplish at the highest level.
No, I don't. To me, it doesn't matter what style. You know what I mean? We're gonna be able to do what we normally do. We're gonna take care of that. You know what I mean? Fondora is a tall guy, long arms, and he can fight. You know what I mean? I want to see him, maybe he can bring Boots to another level. You know what I mean? Like I said, they ain't see them levels, all them levels he can do.
Sharing a similar view, Greg Hackett calls Boots Ennis versus Sebastian Fundora the biggest fight at 154 pounds. While acknowledging that Fundora has another obligation first, he insists that is the matchup to make and expresses confidence that Ennis will prove he is the better fighter.
I feel like it's the biggest fight at 54. Of course, it's not next because Fondora got a fight coming, don't he? He got a fight as mandatory. Something like that.
Mandatory, I don't know, maybe what, in October?
Fondora, that's what they say. He was getting ready to fight a mandatory.
Yeah, I mean, I know he was supposed to be fighting on the Canelo undercard, and then they pushed that. So
yeah, listen, man. If it's Fondora, then it's Fondora. He'll find out.
Adding another perspective, Eddie Hearn identifies Sebastian Fundora as one of the most difficult opponents in the division because of his height, reach, and awkward approach. Despite those challenges, he expects Jaron Boots Ennis to handle the matchup, arguing that his high boxing IQ, adaptability, and complete skill set give him the tools to break down Fondora's style.
But you've got to be good enough to adapt to everything, and that's the problem. A lot of these guys, no disrespect to Keith Thurman, but he's been done for a while. But Tim Tszyu, these kind of guys, they're all great fighters, but they just can't adapt to styles. Josh has got an unbelievable IQ. Boots has probably got the best IQ in the game, I think. They can adapt in those kind of fights, and that's what you need to do, because Fondora's a massive problem. Because how do you prepare for it? I mean, so until you get in there, start getting hit by these fucking arms coming from anywhere.
However, Robert Garcia views a potential clash with Fondora as a difficult assignment for Boots Ennis. He highlights Fondora's rare physical frame, awkward approach, and recent growth as elements that could disrupt Boots' style. Garcia feels the matchup favors Fondora because his unique attributes could create problems that many fighters struggle to overcome.
I think the only thing that could stop Fondora is a pressure fighter that's not gonna give up and he's gonna keep coming, working the body, and just kind of bullying Fondora into a fight, pressuring him into a tough fight. I think that's the style that might hurt Fondora. But Boots is, Boots could also, also fight smart. He's a good. He's got good footwork too. He's got good speed. So I don't think Boots is the type of brawler that's gonna push Fondora back. So I think that right there, I favor Fondora on that one. I think so. I think it's probably a mistake for them to take that fight.
Expanding on that point, Garcia further explains that Fondora's style creates a unique puzzle for any opponent. He argues that a fighter who constantly pressures, attacks the body, and prevents Fondora from settling into his rhythm would have the best chance of success. However, Garcia questions whether Boots' technical and movement-based approach can neutralize Fondora's size and physical advantages.
That could become the next big superstar also, but look, I have Virgil in the same weight division, so obviously we have to also push for that, because I believe Virgil beats him. I think Virgil hits him, Virgil knocks him out. So it's hopefully Boots doesn't take that Fondora fight, because coming weeks to make the fight, but coming off a loss might not be that interesting. I want him to be a champion.
Shifting the focus to Fondora's development, Paulie Malignaggi highlights how much the champion has improved throughout his career. He believes Fondora has become a more polished fighter, while still maintaining the toughness, size, and physical advantages that make him dangerous. Malignaggi also praises Fondora's improved technique and composure, saying those adjustments have made him an even tougher opponent.
Fondora's made a lot of adjustments to his style, so he's getting better. Fondora's getting better, and Fondora's becoming more and more difficult to deal with. He's understanding how to adjust his distance, and a guy who knows how to measure his distances at 6'5", 6'6", at junior middleweight is very, very tough. The first Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora fight, it was the hardcore Fondora. It wasn't adjusting that distance.
Looking at the matchup from another angle, Sean Porter favors Boots Ennis because of his superior athleticism and overall ability, but he stresses that Sebastian Fundora is a uniquely difficult opponent. Porter notes that Fondora's unusual style is hard to prepare for, and questions whether Boots' team will make the necessary adjustments, while expecting Fondora's camp to arrive with a well-executed game plan.
Boots looks like he's supposed to beat Sebastian Fundora because he's so fast, because he's so electric, because he's shown tremendous power, because he's shown so many different movements and techniques, and everything jumps off the screen when it's Boots Ennis. But then when you got, like I always like to say, another weapon standing across from you, negating some of the things you do, forcing you to turn off some of the stuff you do. Now here's the thing that makes this guy dangerous to Boots. What I feel I know about Boots, I don't know if they game plan. To me, it seems like Boots is like, and Dad Bozy, we just gonna get you ready. Can't nobody beat you. Well, sometimes you gotta get ready for the guy across from you. And what I now know about this dude, he getting ready for who's across from him. And that's why I'm breathing like that, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to be ready, he's going to have the right weapons, and he's going to be calling on the right weapons all night long.
Continuing that analysis, Paulie Malignaggi sees Sebastian Fundora as a rare challenge because of his size, reach, and power. He explains that those qualities create problems for anyone in the division, including Boots Ennis. Malignaggi also views the matchup as compelling, because both fighters have strengths that can disrupt the other, while praising Fondora's recent improvements in technique, defense, and overall discipline.
Ennis and Fondora. Listen, Fondora's an awkward fight for anybody because of the height and the power that he's got at that weight. But really, to break it down, it would be interesting, and it's a really weird, strange fight to try to figure out who has the advantage there. You know, because Ennis is streaking, but Fondora also seems like he's getting better and more difficult to deal with as well.
He's been through a little bit more too, like knocked out.
He has. He's been knocked down, all that other stuff, and yes, a lot of blowhards will talk about that. Oh, this guy dropped and this guy hurt him, but I think Fondora's actually gotten a lot better. I think Fondora, the last couple of fights, has really looked a lot better. He's less hittable, fighting in a more cerebral way. He's eliminated some of the flaws in his style, while keeping some of the strengths, you know, like keeping the strength. So for me, it's made him an even more difficult guy to deal with. And he was a difficult guy to deal with even with the flaws. But now that you have these improvements in Fondora's game and Fondora's style, I think he becomes even more difficult to deal with. And yeah, like I said,
Chris Algieri also views Sebastian Fundora as a unique problem for opponents because of his rare physical dimensions and continued growth as a fighter. He points to Fondora's improved jab, better control of distance, and more disciplined approach as major developments. Algieri also credits the changes in Fondora's defense, saying his size and evolving skill set make him a difficult matchup.
If they all fight each other, I don't think anybody stays undefeated. So even trying to rank people just because they're all so different. You know, you got Boots, who's a fluid, side-switching, counter-punching, killer puncher. You got Virgil, who's a two-fisted destroyer, comes to get you.
Meanwhile, Gary Russell Jr. says Boots Ennis faces a completely different type of challenge against Sebastian Fundora because of Fondora's rare size and reach. He believes Boots cannot rely on his usual approach and will need to close the distance, apply pressure, stay defensively responsible, and use his full skill set to overcome Fondora's advantages.
He really has to go chase his man down. It's always like they either the same height, the styles make it where as though they just like in the center pocket, middle of the ring, and they just going like skill for skill. You know what I mean? With this 7'8" tall guy, he like 7'8". He's not about to stand there. He might, you know, but Boots is really going to have to show a different side of his ability. He's going to have to walk forward. He's going to have to move his head a lot more, not just be defensive discipline, but he's going to have to work in between. He's going to have to be defensive and offensively equally as good. You know what I mean? He's going to have to work it together simultaneously.
Adding to that breakdown, Sean Zeidel points out that Sebastian Fundora has become far more effective at using his size and reach as his career has progressed. He explains that Fundora now controls distance better, chooses his attacks more carefully, and uses his volume to disrupt opponents. Zeidel also notes that Fundora has matured in the ring, showing more patience and composure instead of constantly forcing exchanges.
And he's getting better at using that height. He's gotten a lot better at doing it. It's making him harder to beat. But the downside of his frame is his waist is not flexible. And thus, there's going to be really no head movement from Sebastian Fundora. His defense is his offense. And his defense, what makes him harder to hit, is using the most of his distance and of his height and having a good sense of distance, when not to force the uppercut, which he doesn't do anymore really, when to, you know, the right punch at the right distance, and the volume of punches is his defense. But I felt that he did show being more defensively sound, and he even took a step back once or twice or three times, which for him is a significant development. Okay, this is a guy who would just go downhill, downhill, downhill off his jab, and you could just wing shots, and he's going to be right there, and you're going to knock his head around like several fighters have done.
Looking at the other side of the matchup, Stephen Edwards acknowledges that Sebastian Fundora's size, durability, and jab make him a challenging opponent to deal with. At the same time, he points out that Fundora has shown vulnerabilities, referencing the Brian Mendoza defeat as evidence that he can be troubled under pressure. Edwards feels Boots' precision, power, and offensive ability could exploit those openings and create a competitive fight.
He's a difficult guy. He has a very unique skill set because he's 6'6" with a jab and he has heart. But we got to remember, Fondora was knocked out brutally by Brian Mendoza. Like, that really happened. Everybody wants to act like it didn't happen, but it happened. And I think Boots, I'm not sure. I think Boots stopped Fondora within like 3 rounds, like on some Hagler Hearns, just brutality. Yeah, I think he's just too big of a target. And I'm telling you, Mills, Boots is mean. He's a mean dude. He doesn't act like it, and because he don't talk and talk shit, everybody think that like he's not. He's a mean little sadistic type of dude that like want to beat on you and hurt you. And I think you got to be like that with Fondora because you can't play with him.
Expanding further on Fondora's challenge, Stephen Edwards sees Sebastian Fundora as a unique problem because of his rare dimensions, resilience, and ability to control fights with his jab and reach. However, he argues that Fondora has flaws that can be exposed, pointing to his defeat against Brian Mendoza as an example. Edwards feels Boots has the speed, accuracy, and offensive tools needed to capitalize on those weaknesses.
I think Boots... People are not going to like this, right? I think Boots could get Fondora out there early. Because I think that stylistically, Fondora is too big of a target. And you give a sharpshooter like that a big target, he's going to be able to hit him anywhere. He's not going to be able to miss him. Boots throws real good looping shots. Fondora's using his jab more, and he's using the distance more, but he still can't move his head. Nobody 6'6" can move their head.
With so many elite fighters circling the division, the future of 154 pounds is becoming impossible to ignore. Whether it's Boots Ennis, Sebastian Fundora, or Vergil Ortiz Jr., one thing is clear: the division is loaded with dangerous matchups. Now the question is, who will step up and prove they are the best? Make sure to subscribe for more boxing breakdowns, news, and updates as the biggest fights continue to unfold.